Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Parallel League podcast. Today, Mookah and I are joined by VIPER again. He is a repeat guest because he keeps winning stuff. So he just won the first major of season 2, and he also won the last major of season 1. So Trey impressive to say the least. So we're gonna talk to VIPER about the match because it was a roller coaster of emotions, and I think generally deemed as one of the best matches in Parallel history, if not the best. So we're going to get into some questions with VIPER in a second here. We're super happy to have you back on the show, but some quick announcements before we jump in. The Prime Minor 4 is July 19th, and the Open is at the end of the month on July 25th. So definitely go to parallelleague.game for more information about the schedule and how to participate in those. And also the Deception playtest is open to the public right now. So you can join the playtest server. Where would be the information on to join the server, Mookah? Would that be just
within our Discord? I believe that the Parallel Discord, we have a link to the tweet that like tells you where the Discord is. There's a separate Discord for the public test server. That's just like where we like to get feedback and stuff like that in one spot. But if you have the Parallel launcher, it's on there. There's literally a new button on the launcher. You just click it. It says public test server, and you just hit play once you click the button, and you're in.
Awesome. And at the end of the episode, we'll get some thoughts from Mookah on how the playtest is going, because least of what I've seen is that so many people are enjoying it and having a great time. So I'm curious to hear his thoughts. But now, we move on to VIPER's time to shine and ask him about this crazy final series. Oh my gosh, VIPER. First of all, just a general question. How you feeling after being yet another major winner?
That's I don't know. It's pretty amazing. It's just super. It's like one of those things. Like you just try to play as many tournaments and things as possible because like eventually something is gonna work out, right? Eventually you're gonna have the good run, and whenever it happens, like it just feels so good. It feels like damn, it's paying off that you kept trying, you kept playing, like testing, practicing, just going for like all the tournaments and so on. So yeah, it's like super amazing to see that, and just very happy that I managed to like pull through again.
So for you, it's a numbers, it's a frequency thing. Because for me, I wonder sometimes when you go on like hot streaks or lost streaks, right? Like you in between you winning the last major and this major, it's not like you've you know necessarily topped every single tournament, right? So how do you kind of keep your confidence, in those periods where maybe you aren't winning quite as much?
I think on the like baseline confidence level, I've been playing card games for like 20 years on like a semi-competitive level for or since 15 maybe, since 15 ago, and then obviously been competing in Hearthstone like on a pretty high level, been competing in TCGs with people who have been doing very well, and I think I'm confident I'm fundamentally a good player. And
Mhm.
the thing where I feel like I lack confidence at times is, did I practice enough for this event? Did I figure enough things out for this event? Am I just like up to date on all the like specific cards and so on? And like talking about, for example, the period since the last major and this, I think this major was the one that I felt prepped the most for. Felt
Interesting.
what I say. I felt like I prepped well for, and I feel like I was just I don't know, I just had like a good lineup and things looked well and so on. And a lot of these tournaments in between, for example, I felt not so confident in, did I really play the best decks? Did I um just did I do what I could essentially? But then it's like you said, the numbers game kind of kicks in again, and like we're still playing card games at the end of the day. And if like fundamentally I've played them for decades and I just probably do good decisions most of the time, maybe not all the time. Um, that's gonna have a lot more weight if I just try to give myself as many shots at playing like all these events compared to I don't know, just you can only like do so much, right? You can only prepare so much and get so much of an edge compared to other people. So just trying more events and like playing more games sometimes helps a lot.
Did you do more like closed testing with like a group this time, or was it a lot of ladder? Because I know it differs from player to player within parallel.
I really I really don't like ladder for testing like anything really. I feel like a one on ladder, my average opponent is probably not as good as the average guy that I face in a tournament. Second, ladder deck lists are different. Then ladder deck lists are closed, and people are likely not as concentrated and care as much, and they also don't know the tech cards that I'm running and so on. So I think ladder is like valuable for fundamentally understanding this is how like some matchups and card interactions play out, and that is really important to do, especially in parallel, because like sometimes we've had interactions of cards change or matchups like how they play out change a bit, like what deck wins long run, how does the early game work out if both players just draw the normal cards that every deck runs, etc. So there's a lot of value in doing that, but I think there's more value in like trying to figure out, okay, what is everybody else gonna play in the tournament? What are the tech cards that we can expect? And what can just I do to get my like 5%, 10% advantage basically? So I
So
did
who was in your testing group, or and generally who do you test with before tournaments?
yeah, so I mean for this one I was just chatting a lot with Diesel, I was chatting with Hawkwax, and that was like mainly the people I was talking to. And outside of that, I've funnily enough, started just calculating a lot of things with AI because it's like there's
Okay.
like a lot of math that's annoying to do by hand, but it's like very possible. Just like how likely is it that I draw these cards by this turn? This is like my mulligan strategy. Calculate this, and then this like the opponent's deck. This is that strategy. How likely is it that I draw these cards while they have these or while they miss these and so on? Just running through things like that and figuring out, okay, how likely is it actually not just a feeling in my head by playing 100
Mhm.
games, but what is a real number that I can put in place in terms of how does this card maybe change the matchup? How often does it actually impact something? How often is it going to be maybe bad versus like other deck and so on? So I tended to do a lot more on that, especially lately, because it's just a lot more convenient to do compared to previous years where that would have been a big hustle.
Awesome. Can I just say that's so freaking cool? Like, you y'all, anyone listening to this episode, Viper just won the major, and he used AI to calculate all the nitty-gritty details of, percentage matchups and all this stuff, and, like, that's how you win it. That's how you win a major. That is so impressive, and I love that use. Finding, clever ways to use AI is a huge, like, interest of mine right now, so that's super, super cool. Thanks for sharing that. That's
Do you
awesome.
feel like that impacted your play when it comes to like intuition versus like you now know the theoretical numbers? Like where were there plays where you're like statistically like I win this more often if I make this play versus like I don't know, like my gut is telling me don't play this instead or something like that.
I think it is a very different if you're playing the actual game, because in the actual game it's not just numbers. It's like you have an opponent on the other
Mhm.
side, and they make
Yeah.
mulligan decisions, and you see how many cards get mulliganed, or like where the cards from the hand they're banking, if they're keeping something around for like a few turns. So in the game, you still have to just adapt on the spot what you see your opponent do, and just like make educated guesses on how the hand plays out that they have, because maybe they played a card and now it's more or less likely that they have something else in hand than it would be just math wise. It's like the poker thing, right? It's like you can
Mhm.
just play poker by the number, so you can be the guy that's like trying to read the player that's like sitting in front of you or whatever.
Wow. Did you ever get, really into poker? Have you had that phase yet or no?
Basically no. I just played like video games or like
Mhm.
trading card games, and I think there was just never really a moment where I thought, okay, let me just play poker and make a living out of it. I was just playing poker as like a hobby, as like in a video game, just clicking my cards or playing online a little bit. But it was, I think, when I turned 18, it was not as lucrative anymore, and it became like a lot more difficult already at that time because it was a lot like mainstream basically. And yes, I never got into that because it kind of looked too difficult at the moment where I could legally play.
I see.
That's a good answer.
Got you. Yeah, it's interesting, the human element carrying over into games like Parallel. Like, even though you can't see your opponent, and but you can still hand track. There's still subtle things that you can take away, and the best players, are going to be able to add all those things up. Um, all right, so I kind of want to go game by game here. We don't need to go turn by turn, but I just want to generally get your thoughts because pretty much every single game was like so intense. Muka and I casted it together, and watching the review back, I mean, oh my gosh. So starting out with game one, actually, okay, before we get into the game, I did want to just ask real quick though, like, what was your lineup? And like your thoughts bringing those for paragons and decks before actually, and then we'll go into the game.
I think it's like a pretty simple story this time. I was just not a fan of Neve. I don't think Neve is like necessarily like well placed in best of five meta at the moment. Maybe if you're like super good Neve player and you just know more nitty gritty things than I do about a lot of matchups, that becomes different. I don't know, but yeah, from my perspective, Neve just did not look very well. So I just wanted to not play Neve in my lineup, and I felt like the other decks just lined up and made a lot of sense. Then it was like, okay, am I just gonna play the basic decks like Skippy, Kathy, Uni, and I think Gafar at this point? Or do I want to play like ADHQ or like these other things? And then I was just thinking, no, just playing the standard decks looks really good because the standard decks look good into Neve, in my opinion. I thought a lot of people in my side of breakup gonna play Neve, like Jala, BlizzConyan, and so on. A lot of people that I thought I would play throughout the tournament, also like just fans of the deck. So I thought that they're just gonna play that as a comfort pick. And yeah, that's when I was feeling like, I don't know, I'm just gonna play the decks that I'm comfortable with, that I feel like are just good. I'm just gonna try to make good decisions and just see how the games play out.
Awesome.
There's no, yeah, I don't feel it's like some crazy thought process there. It was just like ban Earthen, that's like the most standard thing. Like play Gafar and just high roll your hasty, high roll your hacker, draw your consistent openings in Kathy and Skippy, and then things are gonna be good.
Yeah, that's a solid strategy. It definitely worked out. Um, all right, so game one, you had your it was Gafar versus Unishop, and that was like that game just set the tone of the entire series. Okay, so to review, you had a really crazy turn right into Zarathustra, which, by the way, we didn't shout out Zarathustra. Also a massive congratulations to him coming in second place, very impressive as well. But he had a counter crazy turn with I think it was a Desmond into a Freitas or just something
Yeah.
absolutely insane. So
If I
maybe
remember correctly, it
yeah.
was like Viper's turn was you drew a hacked Terra. It was a
Mm,
2-cost Terra. Well, I can't believe I remember this. And then you had Formidable and Terra. And it was like pretty much like think like done deal. And then he Desmond, and I think it was like off a Cunning Diplomat or something. He drew like the 1-cost Freitas that just brought him back into the game. He went through like 6 cards in his deck or something. It was like absurd. But yeah, that was, I think, it was a 0-cost Raiders. I see it on your thing. Got 3 defenders on board, filled up the whole board, and took out your board. That was the setup for that one. Um, I guess the first question is, how did that feel when you went from like, I'm gonna win this game, I'm sure, to like, oh my god, what the
Um,
hell just happened?
Yeah, I mean, I could have done better math and seen that I'm not one of lethal, but I could have just killed him. So there goes that, right? Um, yeah, getting that out there, I guess. I think outside of that, I mean, yeah, in the moment, okay, so that turn, it's like you draw the Terra, and it's like, okay, this is like obviously a super lucky draw, but is this the turn to do Formidable Terra? Is this the turn to do? I think I had like some other things that were good in hand, and I was thinking like, do you kill next turn with it? Is this just lethal right now? Like, try to do some math. There's 2 defenders on the board, adding up a bunch of numbers. I think in that turn, I was also like kind of annoyed that he had the third snitching, which was like really OP versus my Terra
mm,
Glider random 08, and that I even summoned the 08, which was like the worst card to summon. So I was like kind of like in an annoyed mindset, which is like obviously bad. And then yeah, I was like a lot of stuff going through my head, like is it even formidable into Terra? And I was thinking like, of course it has to be, but by that time, I think like 20, 30 seconds on the timer were gone. And then like it is adding up single digit numbers, but it still is adding up numbers and trying to make sure that you don't miscount by like one or something, because that can be pretty bad, especially
Mhm.
versus uni when they have hacker out and then it's like, do you leave the unit up or not or whatnot? So, I mean, in hindsight, there's like, the mind is a bit calmer, then like you can just execute that turn better. There's also a lot of stuff going on, I guess. And then like the double defender thing is like annoying because usually you just click the biggest unit and that has to be defended.
Mhm.
And here it
Yep.
was like, no, you had to click like a 4 and then you have to click like a triple 2. And I was like, oh, I just clicked the 5 and then I missed like 1 damage essentially doing that, which was 1 damage off lethal. So that's bad. But yeah, that's like just what was going through my head that turn. And yeah, obviously I kind of know, okay, like if they have Desmond, they can always like come back from this. If they have Ingrid, they can like steal one of the formidable things and kind of come back from that. But then, I mean, he even drew like a bunch of defenders and then had Wong and buffed the defender, and then so like it was one of the most insane unit turns I ever saw. So
It
it's like
was
unfortunate to lose that, especially because, oh yeah, this is like another thing that was going through my head after that game, because Uni was the most scary deck for me to like get a win with on my end. So the Uni mirror was one of the easiest matchups to get a win with, my opinion.
Mhm.
Therefore, like letting his Uni get the win when like I probably should have gotten the win with that. That is like just annoying thing to happen, I guess. Yeah, a lot of emotional stuff happening in the game. I think that was even a hasty for like a double one drop and stuff. So I don't know.
Did
It's
did
wild.
you recognize that you were off lethal after you finished that turn? Like,
No,
and
I
after he did all the
recognized
thing?
I recognized
Okay.
after the tournament when somebody told me. Like in that moment, it's like that's what I meant. Like it didn't even occur to me that I have like the fall into triple two.
Mhm.
I think on my
Yep.
screen, like one of the two attack units was probably even cut off because it was like on the side or something. So I didn't
Yeah.
Yep.
even have that in my eyes. I don't know. It's not like a bad excuse kind of thing. It's always like kind of like a shitty thing if you like win a tournament. Like, yeah, but I made this mistake, or this like it's like kind of shitty towards like your opponents. That's why like if we're talking about this, I'm like not myself. I'm a third person. I'm just evaluating the games, I guess. But
Yeah, but
yeah, I don't know. At that
every
moment, I didn't see it.
it's so unlikely that you go through a series where, every player would have, little mishaps here and
Yeah.
there, So it's like, I feel like it doesn't matter who it is. Like, I think the likelihood that someone plays 100% perfect the entire time is not, fair. But of course, like in the review of the game, you wanna hold yourself to a high standard, so I respect that. But
Yeah. The reason I asked because I was gonna ask if you did notice it, how does that go in your mind? Like I guess I'll ask the hypothetical. Like I'm sure in your tournament career you've witnessed like a misplay that could have won you the game. Like how do you mentally do you have like a ritual or something? Like we've talked to Lamby in the past where you can like reset, or are you just kind of like going through it and trying to bury it as much as you can and go to the next match or the
No,
next
I just
game?
try to like take. mm, I don't think I have like a ritual or anything. I just think, okay, whatever happened happened. I just play my next game well.
Mhm.
Like I just try to play my cards and try to not like think about it. Like that's the worst thing. If you're stuck thinking about something in the past, you're not focused
Yeah.
about the thing you're currently doing. So just like play the cards that are in front of you and think about the game that's in front of you. And then you can like be mad at yourself afterwards or whatever. But it's like Ali said, like we kind of have the standard of we should just never make mistakes and never misplay, and that's like the standard that should just exist for everybody. Realistically, that doesn't happen as often, but like it is also the standard that I kind of live by myself by. So if I
Mm,
make
Sure.
mistakes, I'm like kind of like this really should not happen. Like I should not be
mm.
making mechanical mistakes in a game.
It's like, all the wise mystics of the world say, live in the present moment, and that is true for card games as well, right? If you're thinking about your past game, then, it's gonna mess up, the current one, but, yeah, striving for perfection is tough. Well, I would love to move on to the second, game here, unless you've got any final words on that one that started kicked it off.
No, I think it was very like in that sense very emotional game. It's like yes, the triple snitching. So I think the hasty like bricks. then the Terra top deck, then there is Desmond, and like very cool game to watch for sure as
Mhm.
well. So happy that I could be part of that, I guess, from that
Yeah,
perspective.
from our side, we were like, "Oh, Viper's got this in the bag," and then it was insane, insane. All right, well, moving on to game 2, which I feel like the reverse kinda happened because it was, Zarathustra's brand versus your uni shop, and the whole first half of the game, it looked like Zarathustra just had it. I mean, yeah, the development of the brand, like, I think a few of the voids came out. I mean, it just was looking like he had this and you were gonna be down 0-2, but you had a swing turn. I think they're in the middle of the match, like, you got your own Cyrene down, and then a little bit later, your Desmond came into play. You found a Freitas, and then the game just got completely drawn out, and, and then you managed to take it. And there was a lot of emotion during that as well. I mean, there's so much to touch on here, but yeah, I guess I'll let you kind of run with it, talking about it, and then maybe we can go into some more detail. So, how are you feeling that game?
Uh, okay, just trying to recall what happened in that game. I don't like. I know like the early game obviously didn't go like super well. I think there was like some stuff with him. Like he also like needed to have like Sareem, which was like the only good answer to my board at some point. And I just tried to stay alive with stuff. And like, I mean, the notable thing there was for me that like I hate to talk about this like throwing like games thing, right? But when I play when I play Ingrid and Ingrid replays the 2/5 token, like in my mind,
Mhm.
because it was at some patch before and I did not test it before this tournament, it would replay Freitas and Freitas would just been lethal. So then it
Uh,
replays the token, and I'm like, oh wait, it replays the unit that Freitas summons. Well, that's pretty bad. At the same time, I could play Wong to draw Cyber Deck and then counter spell demo, and the game is like 100% over. So that happens, and then the game drags out for like many turns afterwards because yeah, like I mean, just did not have the Cyber Deck to counter spell demo and just win on the spot basically.
got
I think
it.
after
Okay.
that happened, I kind of fell into this mindset of like, well, I don't really deserve to win this game. That was like really stupid. I should
Oh,
like I know the interaction had changed in the past and it had changed back how it works, and I did not test it before this tournament. That's really stupid. So after that, I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Let's just try to play for the cards that I have. Okay, I have this like 5/8 thing. He's pretty low life. He played the removal card. He has very few cards in hand. Maybe it can just get there. Like maybe it's gonna be good enough, right? And then I don't know. I guess he just didn't have like the last removal card, and fatigue didn't end up killing me basically. I think there was one turn where I think that maybe also looked like sketchy, like why play like 5 mana gunslinger or something there. I think I was like playing around Adira lethal. There was like a lot of stuff going on from like being on low HP to fatigue eventually kicking in, drone printer being like guaranteed card draws, trying to close out the game like right before that can happen. Mostly just banking on the 5/8 surviving. That
yep.
was like kind of the game plan there. Because it's Brand that
Well,
doesn't play like Severus or anything, right? So that was kind of the idea.
you could make the argument that Zarathustra made a mistake as, like, I think it was, and I actually don't know this, we were contemplating it on the cast, but I believe he was on, like, mana 8, and he had 2 demos and a, Tioli in the hand, and he did decide to bank one of the demos, probably to look for the Unseen Allies, but ultimately, I feel like if he had had a backup, demo, that might have, carried him to the win, so, like, both players, might be doing things not necessarily, completely optimally. I don't know if that was correct because obviously he does need to find unseen allies, but, I just wanna say, like, keeping your composure, I think you played it very well. I mean, there are things here and there. The Ingrid insight is interesting because I did notice that you were visibly upset about, like, after dropping Ingrid, and I wasn't quite sure why. I didn't know if it was, like, you were upset about committing her to the board, but now we know that it was because of the token, like, you thought you were gonna get something else. So, I'm glad to have had that insight. But I mean, that was a pretty epic win. I mean, I think you played it really well, and the fact that you were able to like keep the composure was insane. It was
Yeah, I
it
mean,
was
don't want to like down. I don't know. I feel like this is like I'm sometimes like too hard on myself.
yeah.
Maybe it's like a thing that definitely happens. So it's like what's a notable thing? Okay, I like made that mistake that was stupid. But I think outside of that, the game was a good game. Like I
Yeah.
think outside of that was like definitely good game. It's like a really hard game to play as well. I think Uni sounds like the stupid deck where you just high roll with hacker or you lose, but like both in the past iterations and the current one. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of interesting to play the deck. There's like a lot of stuff going on. You have like cheaper cards that's different every game. You have to like how do you survive? How do you not die to fatigue and then whatever. You're like a limited resource deck as well. You're not just gonna win if the game goes on
Mhm.
forever. You have like swing turns and then that's it. So yeah, like definitely like super interesting game to play. And yeah, I don't wanna like I don't know make it like sound too bad.
No, no. I have a question, and it's not necessarily related to the games, but it's something that I noticed like players like I think 2 games in you could see emotion from both of you guys start to show visibly on the camera, and then like between matches, like we know in like through production that you guys are taking like bathroom breaks. Like what are those? First off, are they really bathroom breaks? And two, like are you like screaming like while you're in the bathroom, or like what's going on like during the breaks? I feel like that's so interesting to see because like but it always happens. Both players are like, I'm gone. Like give me a few minutes, a bathroom break.
Yep.
No, I just drink a lot of water, I think, especially when playing. Like it's just like something to like calm me down a bit as well. Just like have like a bottle of water or a glass of water to like sip on like all the time. So
Mhm.
I drink like a few liters of water while playing. I think the game's like kind of dragged out pretty long as well every time. So
Yep.
there's like the part of like, okay, what if I have to play like a 40-minute game now? Maybe I should just go now.
Yeah.
Oh my god, God forbid you're like it is a 45-minute game and you have to go so bad and you have to like pee in a bottle on the side of the desk
No.
during the cast. That would be
Well,
maybe
that happened to not peeing in the bottle, but Zelly at Worlds in the finals had to go use the bathroom. I don't know if you guys remember. There's a clip where like when Jarlo wins, he immediately runs off stage and he's like, "I
yeah.
ran to the bathroom." He's like, "I had to use the bathroom." So, unfortunately, I mean, I don't know. Now if I see some player like move off camera, I'm like, "What's going on here? They peeing in the bottle?" It's
Well, rather you pee in a bottle or run off camera real quick than lose the match,
yeah.
because of your bladder. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do. And also, when the stakes are high, like, you get nervous peas, man. So I understand. But it was an interesting question, Muka. I was also curious about what's happening in those breaks. Um, okay, all right. So then we get into game 3. It is your Gafar because you had previously lost it in that Unishop game versus Zarathustra's Scipius. And that was also kind of I mean, it wasn't quite as intense as the other games, but you had control for the large majority of it, but there was a middle, like, hasty mobilization. That was the one where you low rolled on a hacker had hacked, like, 2 Steward of the Gardens to, like, 5
They were both
or
like 5. Yeah.
something like that. And that was also another moment where emotion hit, and that was not your mistake, at least unless you feel differently. That was like RNG, screwing you over. And that kind of leads me to another question that you can kind of maybe tie into this turn is, are you the type of player that gets more tilted when you've made your own mistake, okay, and you're kicking yourself, or when the RNG, like, you've played the way that you should have and the RNG just screws you? Like, which reality bothers you more? I'm curious.
I mean, it might just depend on the day, honestly. Like, I feel
Okay.
like I don't even have a good answer to that because I just like maybe it just like some days like things annoy me, and some other days I just completely couldn't care less.
Okay.
Especially if it's like I could not have done anything better, then okay, like it is what it is. I do have a mindset difference there because I know some players essentially have the mindset of as long as they do everything perfect and if they just keep losing to bad RNG, that's like whatever because
Mhm.
they just did everything perfect. I kind of am in the camp of I mean, I don't really care if I make a mistake every now and then, but just like give me the good RNG and let me win. I take it. That's fine. I definitely am more on that mindset,
Okay.
and uh, I don't know. I don't think like it's just annoying if it happens between like a high stakes game and so on. But it's like again maybe upset for like a few seconds. Let the turn timer run out. Okay, opponent's turn. Figure out where to go from here because it's not like the game is lost. Just play well from there and try to win. It's like yeah, just always like try to just do what you can from the position to win. Doesn't really matter if you made a mistake or if some like thing that you couldn't impact makes a mistake or something, right? Like
Right. And there's
yeah.
probably a spectrum too. Like if you lose a coin flip, well, 50% is whatever. But if you lose like a 0.0, whatever percent, like then it's like extra tilting. So fair answer, depends on the day. I think most people actually fall into that camp. Right. So but yeah, so that hasty mobilization, super low rolled for you, but it didn't really cost you the game. You were able to, I think you played 3 hasties
You
that
went to all
game.
three.
Uh-huh. And then the last one was like pretty reasonable. And I think there was like a 0 cost Terramech Shield Titan that you were
Yeah.
able to
I
kind of
think the
keep
last
clean
one
of
was
the board.
Terramech, Shield Titan, and Peacekeeper. It was like a really good one,
Oh,
like the
yeah,
last
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That was insane.
And then you had the
Yeah.
altars that helped you clear everything. That game, so I have a question off of this. So that game, I think, was like one of my worst casting personally,
Really?
because like those 2 games before it were so insane, and like you had to keep track of so many things, and they were so exciting. I made the mistake as a caster of opening the stream. Don't open if you're not good at it. Don't open the stream because then you get you confuse yourself a little bit, like what's going
Mhm.
on. So I wanted to see people's reactions. And then once I had turned it off, like it just there were so many things. I felt like I was going like I think Ali and I in the stream commented on like mental fatigue as casters, like just watching the game at this point. So like the question is like, do you remember like being mentally fatigued like in the middle of this set? Because there was a lot of things going on by this game.
Yeah, I think that was like I feel like that is one of the games where, at least from like my player perspective, I know there's gonna be a bunch of stuff going on in the chat and with the casters, and it's like a very weird game to play without seeing the opponent's hand. Because there's always this like, oh, he plays like double Myers, Mancer, and Skippy. Okay, I have to play this game completely differently from
Hmm.
playing like a normal Skippy game because Formidable doesn't actually do what Formidable does. Pacify doesn't actually keep the unit away forever. So there's like so much more stuff that you kind of have to play around. I feel like I don't know his perspective. I didn't actually rewatch from like his hand, the cards he had in hand. Whereas like from my perspective, okay, I can like play Formidable, hit face. Maybe the game just ends next turn. Maybe he plays Myers Mans and I'm dead. So I feel like okay, I just have to play around so many tech cards for so many turns because I have the chance to do so. But I also feel like from the like knowing everything perspective, it can look really stupid because you play around cards that are not in your opponent's hand and so on. But I don't know, at least from my perspective, I thought that was like a very interesting game because I feel like there were probably a lot of decisions from both sides and like it looked like obviously like I was like kind of in control of the game, so to say, but there were always like outs. But it was always like, okay, if there's like this triumph or this play or this top deck or this recruiter into the Skippy and this like I remember I think a Skippy hit like a 1 in 5 mag, not a 5/3. That was annoying.
Mm.
Um that was
I
like,
think that
oh, is
makes
this game
sense.
actually losable? That was where that moment happened because I thought game is won, right? And then the Magna hit. But yeah, I think that was I don't know, was interesting game to play. Probably really good game to watch as well.
Mooka, was
Yeah.
that the game where like, I think there was a game where, Zarathustra, like, would have had lethal with Miasmancer, and you kept,
um
like, clearing it. I don't know if that was the one, but
No, there was yes, that was the game that like he had one Miasmancer and he held it for a long time and he was
Mhm.
waiting for one turn that he could just drop it and get through the defenders and hit face. And I can't remember exactly. There was one play or interaction that stopped him. He had like one window and it got stopped. And then
Yeah.
from there, like it kind of like went away from him, but he did hold it. But I guess like to the point of it, like You're still locked. It sounds like Viper. You're still locked in at that point, despite going through
Oh
like
yeah,
two
yeah.
crazy
Like
games.
I don't.
Yeah,
It's like kind of whatever. Like yeah,
yeah, and it's the and
I don't think I
at
was like
that point,
fatigued.
I guess you could say the same as Zarathustra. Still locked in, no mental fatigue, which is crazy. Um, does that come? That doesn't come to most players. We've seen a lot of players that aren't used to competing start to, like, for lack of better words, I mean it with respect, like crumble a little bit, like
Unravel.
mentally
Yeah.
or unravel. But I could see it. Well, Zarathustra's competed before too in Axie and stuff, so it makes sense that both of you guys were probably like thugging it out, like just fine. I don't know if thugging it out is the right for saying to for this, but like I mean, you guys held strong mentally, and that because that one was crazy. I remember that one. My casting. I remember there was a. I wasn't. I was like I was paying attention, but I was staring so much at like Miasmancer in Zarathustra's hand. I remember casting that like, oh, Zarathustra's gonna have lethal next turn, and you're like, wait, Altar of Gaia and Terramix Shield Titan, and I just like stuff like that was like totally slipping. So I can't imagine as a player that many games in through the day, and then especially the caliber of those games still being locked in. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I just
definitely like hard, especially if you play like the semi and then you. I mean, I think we had like a pretty long break between like semi and finals, but playing the second one, then
Mhm.
you just play another series. Like that can be pretty tough. Um, I think this time I wasn't playing from home as well. I was playing from like hotel room, laptop and stuff. So like I kind of gave myself probably like a small handicap on that as well. That yeah, I don't know, like just small things definitely like it definitely takes away at you. Like you can like pretend that like it just doesn't matter and like you're not fatigued and this and that, but like it just takes away like some things that otherwise you would like notice that just make sense to you, but in that moment you just miss. I think even with the Terramec Altar of Gaia thing, I think at one point I could have taken like 1 damage on Terramec and then heal it, well, like a +1, but like that was probably like a mental fatigue moment because at that moment I was like questioning, wait, does flourish even work like this? I was like, if it has 1 damage and I heal it by 2, will it activate or not? Like I was
felt
that
bad.
was like a mental fatigue moment for sure. Because then I was like, okay, I'm just not gonna like risk it. I'm just gonna do it the other way because the other way is good enough. Especially after the like Ingrid thing happened. So I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah,
That
yeah, that
humanizes you a
happens
lot
like for
as a
sure.
player to know that you still have moments like that every once in a while too. Just like when your brain stops working for a second is I love that. It's great.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's like one of the things also when Muka said like playing ladder for tournaments. If I would have played like 50 more games of Gafan ladder, maybe that wouldn't happen, right? That's
Right.
like something you can help with prep where you just like try
For
to
sure.
muscle memory stuff like that more compared to where you just do the math thing and then when the game happens it's like, wait, did it really work like this? It's been a while that you actually saw it happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that game was very well played because as we said, there was a the only way you were gonna lose that game is if you gave him the window, right? Of like the Miasmancer and like a kind of a cheeky, sneaky lethal, and you did not let him have it. So yeah, that was a definitely a great one as well. All right, let's move on to game 4. This was your Scipius versus Zarathustra's Brand, and I would say from respectfully from this game, I think this was the one where like there was a mistake in the early game. I think of not clearing the like you used the Gamma, Reliant Gamma to trade instead of the Valorous Striker, and there was at one point in time where I think you were like a couple of damage off lethal, so like it was I think it did cost you, and so at this
Funnily
point,
enough, I
yeah.
disagree with that point.
Oh really? Okay, no,
No,
I
please.
sorry to
like
This
cut
is
you
that.
off.
this
Like
is your
I don't think
time.
that was a miss. I don't think that was a miss. I think that was like correct
All right, let's hear
because
it because we were
I mean, it's just Eclipse Fate.
contemplating that it
If
was
I
a
trade with
mistake.
Striker, if I trade
Mhm.
with Striker, I think I have triple Gamma on board, and he just goes Coin Eclipse Fate, and I lose my entire board.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good.
okay.
That is a good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is
Like what
I
ended
love
up
this.
happening with double Coin Brand and then like a 3 mana spell Coin Belt is like okay, like that's super unlikely, but like yeah, that actually I think was a good play that I thought about. Like if I play around Eclipse Coin Eclipse Fate, or if I don't. I mean,
Yeah,
I messed up like the turn off. I messed up the same turn by like playing tabula into gamma. I should have just banked domina and played the
I
gamma,
see.
and then I can decide what to do with the tabula. Like
Yeah.
that actually cost me. Like if I make that, then I win on turn 5. But yeah.
Got it. Yeah, no, I think that's I mean, I'm super happy to have you like explain that thought process because we did not consider that, and I think you're absolutely right. Getting blown out there would have been far more of a detriment. So, boom, thank you, sap casted. But that also was a bit of let's hold on. I actually let's go back and I'm looking at the game right now. Any other insight from this game that you want to
I
touch
mean, that
on?
was like we talked about the mental fatigue from the last game. Like that was like kind of I think I have like 30 seconds left on the timer, and I'm
Mhm.
thinking, um, I just like didn't realize that I can bank domina and play gamma, and if I want to play domina next turn, I can tabula into domina, and it's
Mhm.
like everything is the same, but I can play tabula or I can play something else next turn. So it's just like a strict misplay. But like in that moment, I'm just like in my mind kind of thinking, I mean, the game's over. Like I'm just gonna play gamma this turn. I'm gonna play domina next turn. His deck is kind of dead. Um, so yeah, then that happened. Yeah,
Got it.
that was like that was like boring me a bit because then the next turn I actually did not want to play domina, and if I had tabula, I could play I think subjugate plus like another gamma. Then I draw the Dracian, and then he's just dead basically.
Yep.
Um, yeah, so that happened that game. I think that is like the only thing that happened that game. I think outside of that, it was like crazy to draw triple take it or leave it, trusty bad erasure, I guess.
It
Yeah.
was. And I'm looking at now, he finished it off by like having an absolutely insane like the unseen allies into like the massive domina. I mean, this is what Shroud does best sometimes, right? It becomes the a better version of the opposing class, and he eventually just kind of had the counter damage to get you, but it still was pretty close. Like that final board that you had was incredibly threatening that, you know, if you didn't have
Oh yeah.
the counter lethal, you might have just taken it just there,
All
honestly.
right.
So
I think the matchup is like this brand deck versus Skippy is like 5% to win, if even. Like it's
wow.
like unbelievably abysmal versus Skippy, I think. Like losing that is like insane. Because he doesn't play live siphon.
Mhm.
So
Mm,
he has no way to compete in the early game at all. He's always like incredibly far behind on board, even if he has double coin brand belt. Like Skippy can probably just trade through things, and then Skippy just fatigues you. So like he basically needed to have like exactly that. Like he needs to erasure the domina for the unseen allies play eventually in the future. Needs to be able to compete with units on the board, so that the domina actually gets buffs and so on. Like that is like the out that can happen basically, which is like super rare. But I really think that's like at most like a 10% matchup for like this brand list specifically. So
well, then
that was like tough to
having
lose, but
yeah,
yeah.
having that happen in the finals then, yet again, a test of your composure and mental fortitude going into game 5, which landed on being a Scipius mirror. So how did you feel about, the last match of the finals being that Scipius mirror?
I mean, I'm still very favored to win because he doesn't play Sabos in his deck, and I have Sabos in my Skippy.
Oh,
So
wow.
that just makes me pretty favored to win. But obviously, like it's just a Skippy mirror. Like you can go second and have really bad draw, and then you just lose, right?
Mhm.
So I think the moment I saw that I'm going first, and I think I had like a normal hand, I was like, okay, I won the game. Like this, like
Yeah.
You just went through the
I'm going,
motions at that point.
yeah, it's like okay, I'm playing the Skippy mirror. Going first is like super favorable. If you just draw a normal hand, you're just gonna win. He doesn't even play Sabo, so I can just play Relic, and like it's really difficult to lose from like having a Relic versus a deck that won't have a Relic because you have Sabo, right? So that was like, yeah, I don't know. I would say like, there's a lot of mental fatigue going on, definitely a long series and whatnot. But just thinking, okay, I just play Skippy mirror. I've played this hundreds of times.
Mhm.
I have a normal hand. Just go through the motions, and it's gonna be fine. I think until I actually won the Gafar versus Skippy. Now I think like the moment I was like 2-1, I had Skippy left. I was thinking, okay, Skippy is unbelievably favored with these two decks.
Hmm.
So there was probably erasing a bit of mental fatigue, but maybe also giving too much of a okay, this is like in the back kind of mindset, maybe because of
Mm.
I just knew how favored I am from this spot. Like having my by far best deck left at being 2-1.
Yeah, well, then that brand win then might have shaken the confidence a little bit, just, because even
Oh, for
with
sure.
this, you having the Sabos in your deck, like still, a Skippy mirror can sometimes they can just go either way, right? But that is one that you are incredibly practiced with, right? Like you have a ton of games on Scipius. I think that's your in the player profiles, I think that was your most played class, right? Or Paragon.
Yeah, I mean, I think this season I've just been playing Skippy on ladder, basically. It's just literally nothing else.
Skippy abuser. I got it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, it was a crazy series and super well played. I know you're hard on yourself and you strive for, perfection, and I think, every good pro player does, but in general, that was a grueling series, especially the way it started out. And, a massive congratulations for like taking another major win. And I saw you tweeted about like feeling great about not having to stress quite as much about like placing on ladder. Like you can relax and experiment a little bit more. So I'm sure that has to, feel great as well.
It really is good for because I was recently thinking, like especially streaming feels so incredibly time inefficient. Because I like if I stream, I don't play as good as if I don't stream. Like I'm
Mhm.
talking to chat, I'm like thinking about other things. I just miss more stuff, and then I lose win rate from that. And especially in the like new normal MMR system that we basically play, I can be like pretty annoying to like grind back the MMR that you lose, or maybe that you didn't gain in the time that you could have played. So yeah, that's like it's like pretty good in the sense of like I think before streaming felt like I'm just gonna throw away some MMR that otherwise I could get, and I also kind of just want to play the best deck only and nothing else, because if I test something out, I'm gonna lose my imaginary internet ranking points, and I really like those points. So yeah, I don't know. That's like really nice. Just very very big time saver, and it will probably enable me to like just go stream more. Don't put on delay or put on cam, talk with people, chat, and a lot more, because yeah, I don't have to like stress as much about it. I think in the end, it's probably gonna make me like especially rank higher because I just play more. I
Mhm.
feel like because like streaming is actually fun and talking to people is actually fun, and yeah, I'm really really happy about that. Honestly, like
And yeah, I mean, a guaranteed spot in top 16 for Worlds is also got to feel pretty freaking fantastic. Which Mooka, we haven't announced where it
No,
will be,
has not
right?
been announced yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. But you're secured in the World Championship, beginning, of next year, so that's amazing, and, I do wanna have Muka talk on deception, in a moment here, but just one more thing, I really enjoy your tweets, like, think you're quite vulnerable with what's, like, going on in your brain sometimes, and I enjoy it, and recently made a tweet about, just sort of being grateful for life and kinda taking a step back, and, I just really loved that, and
Yeah.
I just wondered if you had any more, like, kind of wholesome insight to sort of end this episode just on your philosophy of life and that type of stuff.
I just like the moments when I have a few too many drinks probably and still have my phone in my hand. But no, I mean I think to something like I think it's like just true comments that just make a lot of sense. I think in general, um, this reminds me. I mean, one of the books about stock trading that I read at some point,
Mm.
the guy writing it essentially said he like the reason he's writing books is because he wants to like do something positive for others, for the
Mhm.
world, basically. And like obviously like not on this grand scheme of a person that I am currently in my life or whatnot, but I feel like sometimes these like comments or posts like that is I feel like a positive thing that if I feel like if I myself would read that, I would think that is like a good thing to read to like give perspective and get like positive input and thoughts, and maybe I don't know, be grateful for you have, or go work at getting more. Just try to have more positive mindsets in general, where you don't just despair down spiral kind of thing. Then it
Yeah.
gets worse and worse or something like that. So I really like, I don't really care for growing social media brand. I don't think that's like super for me or whatnot, but I try to just share positive, or try to like give something positive to people, especially to like how I would imagine like myself maybe 10, 15 years ago. If I would read that, that's like, oh, that's actually like, yeah, true. I have like all these things, I have all these opportunities. I should go and try and take some more of those. I should try and work a bit harder on these things. And I definitely can do more, I can achieve more, and things like that. So that's kind of like the mindset that I have, especially with like the social media stuff nowadays, where I just I don't know, I treat it more like just kind of say what I have on my mind right now, and
Mhm.
then fundamentally maybe be this like positively encouraging thing. Probably not all the time. I'm like the dark humor stand-up comedian at times as well, but I would
Sure.
find that funny as well 15 years ago.
Well, I love seeing those posts, and it's there's a lot of doom and gloom on the internet in the world right now. So I think seeing those little, bright moments are really nice and inspiring for other people to share them as well. And it comes across as very genuine. So I loved seeing that tweet the other day. All right, Muka, what deception playtest is live. I just want to give you the floor for a few minutes here, just to, from the team's perspective, to talk about, what you're seeing, and any thoughts and comments about deception.
Yeah, so it's been open on the PTS for about 1 week now, and we originally were going to close it on the 10th, but it's actually going to be longer, so people get to enjoy another weekend. Most we've had a decent influx of people. Some people that we've actually reached out to and gotten them to like kind of be play testers for us. Others were just the community giving feedback, which has been amazing so far. And a lot of people, if you are looking to play on there in the Discord, people are setting up scrims more often than not. So if you're looking for a little sparring partner, you can find somebody on there, and there's usually quite a few people that want to just get scrims going and play a bunch of games, try out whatever their imagination can come up with. But in terms of how we are feeling on the team, very good so far. The first week was to kind of like see, are people having fun,
Mm.
and they're having fun, which is good. We Because it's a public test server, we were allowed to, and you saw that with some of the cards we released, and like I put like disclaimers out there if you saw my Twitter, where it's like things are subject to balance change. It's because we knew they were going to be very powerful, and we knew we had a public test server coming, so we wanted to leverage that. So some like this, because of that, like players are getting hit by some stuff that's like quote unquote OP, and they're okay with it because it's like,
Oh.
because no, I mean it is OP, whatever. But like, and some cards that honestly even terrify me as a designer. But like, it's such a cool environment because no one there's nothing on the line, right? You're just playing to
Yeah.
experience and try things out. So like, you're not losing MMR. You're not like, this is not a tournament or anything like that. So because of that, you're getting a ton of good feedback, and people are willing to like gloss over like the super OP stuff and like wait for balance, and then try out other things. So in terms of like exploration, and are people enjoying stuff across all the parallels, so far it looks like that's happening. So that's really cool. We're allowed to be, or able to be, way more agile with the PTS. So we just did another balance. We did our first balance change yesterday, and that's only a week in. So we can be really, really fast and like look at changes and be like, okay, well, what if we tweak the card this way, and just see how it plays for like a week or longer.
Mhm.
And then if we don't like it, change it back. Or like if we went too far, go somewhere in between. Or if we didn't go far enough, go further. Like we can make those changes on the fly really fast, which is a lot of fun. We could never do that on live. And sometimes we have done it on live, and it's like obviously not received very well, but like we need to figure out the right balance for certain cards, like where do they actually fit. And when you could do that with more testers and more players, it's a ton more fun. In terms of like what's kind of happening right now, you
I've
guys are
heard
Shroud
aggro
players.
is cracked. Is this true?
Uh, Not necessarily. Games are going pretty long right now. Like turn
Okay.
turn wise, we're further than we've ever been. Um, but like games feel very like I guess like faster and more dynamic. But there's a lot of things going on. In terms of turn wise. Uh, Let me think. Let's go parallel by parallel really quickly. There's a fun little shroud burn deck that's popped up with like the Leonid's influence burn card, Solus that bounces a card back and like makes it
Oh, yeah.
corrupted and like
Right.
vandalizers. It's not going to be like OP or anything, but it's doing quite well and it's like better than I expected. That's kind of fun. But Tempo brand has been
Mhm.
experimented with a lot. VIPER was busy on vacation, but I'm excited to see him try more of the control centric stuff. But a lot of our Tempo brand players are having a ton of fun with it, using like the stealth mechanic with Beckon the Veil and stuff like that, and do really cool stuff from that. Earthen is like, I'll be honest, it's cracked. We are changing different levers at different times to see what happens with it. But there was an OTK the first week, and even
Oh,
without the OTK, the deck is cracked. Like, so we're changing the levers as we go, and like just seeing how that goes. Scipius or Cathari as a whole, there was a Scipius OTK the first week. We adjusted some cards to prevent that. That one was off Cerulean Surge. Like it's an effect that gives you double muster. So it was like very, very powerful with certain burn cards, so like Akara and stuff like that. You just like chain a bunch of burn cards on Scipius, play Scipius, and you just win. And then Marco's been cool actually. People are trying ADHQ. The irregulars with Lemmy are a pretty good hit so far, and there's a lot of exploration still with Kathy. And we're gonna get more into that. Like, despite us opening up other play styles like control or combo and stuff like that, we don't want to. By no means do we want to kill tempo, which is like a regular kind of like standard in parallel. So we're using the PTS to find that balance. And I'll be honest, like we kind of did it in live too with like the Cathari changes that happened in this patch. Just trying to see like what really happens if we like not remove, but make these things that they're like that were very easy to do harder. And then is there like innovation there? And then if there isn't, where do we put those things back in line that it feels fun and like enjoyable, not just for the person playing it, but for the guy going against it. But as a whole, I think Agincourt Iraq is doing really well, which is like rare. We'll see how far it gets. This thing is all subject to change, right? Like there's only, despite us going from like a small group of like 5 people internally testing it to like 20 plus, that's still not the same as like hundreds to thousands of people playing it, right? So, but so far it looks healthy. It looks fun. There's a lot of exploration to be done. People are enjoying the new cards and rating. When we do our surveys, they're rating them rather high in terms of enjoyment. So we just have to find the levers to turn to make the super OP stuff not OP but still fun. Make the play styles that people know Parallel for still exist. We don't want them to die, but also open it up a little bit more for people to be creative and have fun. So you guys haven't gotten on to play with it yet. I know you told me beforehand. I encouraged you to do so and experiment with Shroud. Shroud was one I actually was scared of. I didn't think Shroud was going to hit. I'll be honest. I was scared Shroud was not going to hit. And then all the Shroud players are enjoying it so far. They've been trying out a lot of the new cards, and I already see on Allie's face. She's like, "How can you think that?" But like, yeah, they were like, I was a little worried, and like, I got sighs of relief, like when I showed VIPER Leonid's influence, that was his card to reveal, and he's like, "Thank you for giving me a great card." And I was like, "Oh, thank God." Okay, he likes the card. That's one in the books. We did Beckon the Veil, which is the one that gives stealth. I'm not saying like these are the best cards for Shroud, but like it sparked creativity and excitement. So I was like, okay, there's something here. We want to make sure every parallel has that. So like we're using the PTS. I know I just went really long-winded with this, but we're using the PTS so that we can get that feeling when it actually launches.
Some of the Shroud cards are insane. I feel like I should screen cap like what I sent Mookah. Like it was like 4th of July night. It was like midnight. I was trying to
I thought I was getting yelled at first. Like she was like, "Oh my God, what is this? I thought she was gonna be like, this is stupid. And then at the end, it's like in parentheses, I'm happy. And I was like, oh, thank God. Okay, cool.
I'm always happy when Shroud gets cool stuff. So, no, I mean, look, from what I've seen in the Discord, it looks like people are like, man, how am I even going to play normal ladder at this point? Because like everyone's having so much fun with Deception. So I think it's really cool the playtest server dynamic, you know, allowing the community to help, you know, with balance and things like that, and you know, your flexibility into changing things. So it's exciting times. I think we're coming at the end of the episode here. Viper, it was so lovely to have you on again. I mean, shoot, are you going to win the next major? Like, I mean, I wouldn't think that this will probably not be the last time we see you. I mean, heck, you could be world champion of Parallel Season 2. I definitely believe in you. So, thank you for coming on. And yeah, any final words? Because we haven't heard from you in just a second before we do the send off.
Uh, I'm also really hyped to test out Deception, especially Shroud, because I think Shroud got a lot of really cool cards, and I think there's a lot of new ways to play the different decks, which I'm looking forward to. I think before, like, I don't know, I kind of just kept doing like the same, like Muga said, like the same like play styles, and there's like maybe some different cards, or maybe like you play Ceres over Honored Steward and whatnot. But I think now a lot more stuff seems just possible. I think that's really, really cool. Looking forward to Deception a lot in general. I think that that expansion is going to be really, really good for the game. And I think that's, I don't know, just I guess my last words. I hope that I can be another major champion or even win worlds. That would be like, you know, especially winning worlds. That's obviously a dream come true kind of thing. It's like a lifetime achievement, right? I'll try my best. Like I can only say that. I think I'm obviously I qualified already. I'm in like a great spot to like practice all the niche decks and come up with some crazy strategies, maybe like I used to in other games in the past. And yeah, I'll definitely try to do that for sure.
Amazing. Well, I wish you the best of luck in the rest of the season. Nice that you can relax a little bit until Worlds, but thank you for coming on. Mookah, thanks for that rundown on Deception. It's exciting times in Parallel. Thank you to everyone that listens to the episode. Make sure to give us a thumbs up or a like, maybe a comment if you listened to the episode and found something funny or cool. And we will see you guys in another episode. Thanks for listening.
This was a 983 Media Productions podcast.